We're getting into a conversation on some of the topical issues making the news rounds, and we invite you to join us. The show is quite interactive. Send us your thoughts, your comments, and contributions. Let us know what you think about the topics and, of course, about the submissions of our guests, because we're bringing varying perspectives to the issues. This morning, I have two gentlemen joining me in studio. We're quickly going to say good morning to them, and then we'll get straight into the conversations. Wanda Victor Kuto is a National Executive Committee member of the National Democratic Congress, NDC. Council, it's good to see you.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Good.
It's good to see you. And Eric Chum is a member of the new Patriotic Party, NPP's communications team. Eric, it's good to see you again.
Same here.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen, so let's get straight into it. And Eric, I'll start from you because we're going into your home, the new Patriotic Party. The party has triggered processes for the expulsion of Professor Frimpong Boateng, who served as a minister under the Kufuor government, had his own issues, had a conversation with Bernard Avila on the point of view on Monday. Which conversation has led to this position of the party? Now, I don't know if you're privy to that conversation with Bernard, if you've had the opportunity to watch that interview, what you make of his posturing. Did he go overboard or did he just speak plain truth? And then just oppose that with the position of the party for us.
Well, thank you very much. Once again, good morning to you. Good morning to Wanda, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've never met.
Yeah, that's true.
Nice to meet you. And then, of course, to the viewers this morning, I believe that every political party requires discipline to be able to function. And as a matter of principle, you'd also want to give that prerogative to the national executives to be able to apply these discipline, per the constitution that we've all accepted to be governed by. And so, listening to the General Secretary, he basically has activated an article within our constitution that basically gives an opportunity to even the person that's being purported to have done something to be able to come and also answer. I mean, in the name of natural justice and making sure that you give the person an opportunity to tell their side of the story, and then, of course, the party will make a decision. And so, on the basis of that, you won't find anything wrong with that. But then again, you also have a situation where, as a political party, and every political party is made up of people from different ilks, and that sort of comes together and you form or create a certain tapestry that makes a political party. Now, we are not in normal times, and so you realize that even as a party, some amnesty had been granted to polling station executives, people who over the period had acted in a manner that was inimical to the party, right? And so, situating that with what is happening now, I believe that in as much as it's imperative that you instill discipline, you also have to look at it from that perspective. And if there are other ways of actually finding solutions to some of the challenges, then you do so. I mean, then the fallouts from every lost election. We've seen a lot of these things, and people would cast suspicions, people would insinuate, they would also blame. There's always a blame game as to who is responsible for what.
Yeah.
And I feel that I come from the position that in as much as you're part of that process and part of the architecture, everybody should take some kind of responsibility for the loss, and of course come together and then close our ranks and prosecute an agenda. And we have an election in 2 weeks. Spokesperson for the Dr. Brian Champon campaign. But you've invited me here on the platform of the NPP as a communications person. So that discipline is important so that you do not veer off, and then also create the impression.
But that's why I was coming actually on how this impacts.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why I'm saying that you have to be very careful in how these things are applied. You know, and some people have extreme views and are passionate about certain things, and I mean, everybody within the body politic NPP might have some misgivings or can express some level of disquiet and all of that. But it's how you approach it, I mean, and how you deal with it, because in as much as you're trying to exercise that particular right, it might be inimical to the NPP as a political party. And one of the fundamental principles of our constitution is that you have to protect the dignity of the party at every point in time. You understand? So finding that balance, for me, it's extremely difficult. And that's why Shakespeare, uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. And if you're a leader, you go through some of these difficult situations. You know, I mean, I'm reading some of the commentary from the various the platforms and everything. And then whilst the very vast majority of people are in support of the party and instilling discipline, it's almost as if that some of these things are also being applied selectively. Exactly. And I'll be very honest, you know what I'm saying? Because I mean, looking at the kind of stuff that Professor Frimpong Boateng has said, which is, for me, I think is damaging to the image of the party. But there are other people that should have been hauled before. Some people have been hauled before the disciplinary committee and even refused to attend. You know what I'm saying? And they're still walking around. So if you want to instill discipline, it should be seen to be applied across board. Fair, firm, and nobody's ox is God. You know what I'm saying? So that when the public even want to have a certain perception about the party, they believe strongly that there's a fair political party where when people err, right, and you use a process like the General Secretary said to apply that. And then it will be a lesson to all of us. You know what I'm saying? You have people, party issues, statements, and then they defy it willy-nilly, and no sanctions are applied. So, I mean, when it happens
what
like
does that say of the leadership of the party? Because there are those who argue that the current executive seem to have lost grip of the party.
Oh, no, but you see, the thing is that you can have different schools of thought. I mean, I'm indifferent when it comes to this. I just say that regardless of how strong or how weak you are, right? Once you move into the middle and you apply the law, you apply the regulations, and in this particular instance, it is the constitution of the party. Nobody will have challenges. You understand what I'm saying? It is, people would have issues because they think that, oh, if Eric Chum does it, he's treated with kids' gloves. If somebody else does it, then the law is applied. That is when you would have issues. But I honestly think that the party has every right, the party leadership has every right to sanction any person within the party who flouts any of these regulations. And of course, constitutional. I mean, the gentleman himself has indicated that he's probably not even no more like a member of the party. So if the person is no more a member of the party, maybe you don't even have to...
the threats of the General Secretary will not...
No, but that's what I'm saying, that for me, I mean, I would have treated it totally differently, because once the person comes out and says that he's no more, then basically he has actually extricated himself. It's not the case. So I think that these are issues that will come up after losing an election like the way we did. Right? There's a fallout. But then if you also do a bit of, learning, it's basic dissonance, right? And so whilst we're in government, people will say, oh, people are disgruntled, there's apathy, people are pathetic, and all of that. And there's a science to it. You know what I'm saying? And so we need to figure it out. I mean, and that's the reason why the party itself commissioned a report to be presented, Professor Michael Quay report, that would give you an indication of the issues, how to mitigate some of these things, how to forestall some of these things going forward, and then come back stronger as a party. You know, so I mean, whilst on the surface it might look like something major is happening, I believe that this is something that would happen in any political party. I mean, our president, they've had a lot of their own games, phone card games, this, that, people pissing in and pissing out. You know, so I'm saying that is part of it. And the thing is that for me, I feel that we also have a certain, if you like, resistance towards mavericks. You know, sometimes it is part of the, I mean, I might be, I mean, when it comes to political definition, maybe you can see me as a moderate or a dove or something. But there are people too who are firebrands, who are unconventional and all that. And within, of course, reason, within a certain parameters to make sure that you do not, you understand, go overboard. But you need all sorts of people. You need all kinds to be able to put together an organization like a political party so that you'll be able to, of course, resonate with different people and how they perceive things and how they see things. But I feel that this is one of those things. NPP has been bedeviled with some of these things in the past. And we've risen above it and, I mean, won elections and formed governments. And you know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things that I'm sure we can.
Right. Let me bring in one. Ordinarily, you want to mind your own business, but at this point, it looks like the elephant is sheltered by the umbrella, and so you should be concerned with what the elephant does under the umbrella. So your thoughts on this particular issue?
Thank you very much. Good morning once again. Good morning to my brother Eric and to our viewers. Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year to you.
Good. I must say, like you indicated, ordinarily, I mean, as a member of the NDC, issues like this wouldn't really bother us. But in a democratic dispensation, you need a very good, vibrant opposition in order to keep the government on its toes. So it's only proper for us to discuss the happenings within the NPP. I must say that you must first put in context what Professor Frimpong Boateng said. Basically, he said the NPP, as we speak, is a fake NPP. And what he sought to say by saying that the NPP currently is fake means that the NPP that they used to have has lost certain values and principles. That is what Professor Frimpong Boateng is saying. But he characterized that by saying that fake NPP. But he gave some meaning to it, that this is not the NPP they used to know. So the question is whether or not the NPP that we see today is the same NPP that we used to know. In fact, others have even described it in a different manner. You meet people who say, oh, the Kufuor NPP. You see, so it tells you that there used to be some NPP that we are not seeing today. I had recently heard of an interview by Mark Osibeyeboa, who is now with Kennedy in Japan. One of the reasons he gave to support Ken is that, look, they have lost the intellectual base of this country. And that the only base they have now is the streets, those on the down. And he thinks that Kennedy appeals to the grassroots. So that is why he's for Ken. When we were in Legon, in 2008, 2009, thereabout, we were told that the NDC is a violent party. That was the characterization given to the NDC. Probably because of happenings in 2004, those Francis CM, those congresses. So Ghanaians, those in the political space had described the NDC as a violent party. Can we say that today? No, obviously not. Because the NDC took time to correct all those perceptions. In my view, they were not accurate even in the first place, but perception is part of politics. That was the perception at the time, that the NDC is a violent party. But over time, can we say that today? No. Today, the NDC appealed to the intellectual, the middle class of this country. So, I am of the humble opinion that NPP should rather take opportunity of this statement made by Professor Boateng to right the wrongs, to correct the wrongs. They should take the opportunity and do a soul searching. What is wrong with us, the NPP? That is the question they should be asking.
But that sole session would have been done by the Michael Quay committee.
So if somebody is bringing something to the shore, to the front line, there's nothing wrong. For a party that lost, like my brother rightly said, a party that lost an election with 38%, trying to expel
38% is, I mean, what did you people get that 38% for?
So how many? You want to increase
41.
it? Ah, okay, yo.
That's according to the EC.
No problem.
Not me.
No problem. So you will take it like that. For a party that lost an election with, you said 41. 41. Okay, with 41%. 41%. Trying to expel people and all. Yeah, it's good to create discipline, but let's put this in context. Let me give you another scenario. You see, what's the essence of political parties? Is to run campaigns in order to form government, share alternative ideas and all of that. That's the essence of political parties. So you see that comment about previous government can be linked in one way or the other to the political party in power at the time.
Yeah.
President Kufuor made some comments in recent times that he thinks that the latter part, the second term of Akufo-Addo was not the best. We can associate with the NPP government. You get a point? Does it mean President Kufuor doesn't wish NPP well? No. All these comments comes for them to rethink, come together and put this together properly.
But won't the timing of these comments also be important? I mean, for a party that is trying to do its homework, it's going into elections in 2 weeks. And so some of these things, when they come around this time, doesn't it dilute the importance of such an election?
In fact, this is the best time.
You think so?
Yes. Why, you want it in 2028 when there's election? You want it next year? This is the best time. Because you are running campaign. You will go for Congress. When you go for election, you see the comments. This is the best time to address all these issues. So that once I'm done electing
your in a phase of reorganization. You think a comment like this will not... How do you think the grassroots will react to a comment like this if indeed nothing is done about it?
Nana, you've answered your own question. You said the party is in the state of what?
Reorganization.
Exactly. So comment like this will be taken into consideration in reorganizing the party.
But should they be made publicly?
Well, we can look at the approach. We can look at the approach. But my point is that, like Eric said, look, in political parties, they are extremists. Some are moderate. You need everybody. Even in government, there are people who say, oh, a particular minister is he. There are some who say a particular minister is that. That is government. Governance for you, that is human nature, human dynamics. You cannot have everyone move in a particular manner. When you do that, you break the system. So my appeal to the NPP is for them to take the consensus of Professor Boateng in good faith. In good faith, and see how they can correct the wrong. Because we need them. And some of the things are de minimis. So now, once somebody makes a comment, if Eric should make a comment today, and it doesn't sit well with the NPP, then they will commence the process of expelling him from the party. Why? In terms of the comments, sometimes you just...
What would you rather be done?
Like I said, take the consensus into consideration in reorganizing the party.
This man did not write a letter to the party.
But there are forms of communication.
He said it on national television.
Today we are discussing it.
Yeah.
So that should tell you the weight of the man. A former cabinet minister at an NPP administration. There's so many ways of communicating. Today, he's taking prime time here. Just by granting an interview. Today we are discussing it. We could probably be discussing other government issues, but today we are discussing him. You should tell him that he's not just anybody, for Christ's sake. A former cabinet minister of this republic. So he's giving contested, this flagship race, he's contested before.
Yeah.
He's an old folk within the NPP. So if he's giving an advice and he's saying that, look, the current NPP has his thing, he's fake. And he has given meaning to it, that's the values, the principles. And in fact, some of us, when we enter Legon, people trying to convince us to come to join the NPP, the reasons they gave is that, NPP intellectual, the JB Dankwa, the kind of argument. Today, can you say the same? Today, the NPP you see today, I don't want to mention names, the NPP you see today, can you say same? So if this man is raising this concern as early as 2026, first quarter, take it in good faith, correct the wrongs, elect a new flag bearer, elect your national executive, regional executive, constituency executive, police station executive, and get united. Bring your manifesto, present to the people of Ghana, and run a campaign. Of course, they will lose, but at least they will not get the.
How do you him to make a comment on the thing? Now he's running commentary on
2028 elections.
I'm telling you what I expect of them. I'm telling you what I expect of them. As part of them win.
No, that's We've been in this country. I mean, we've seen how political parties have evolved. He tried to make little reference to there'll be the Asamoah era and Francis Siam, where Kobokos were taken to Koforidia and people were, beaten, and poor old Obeta Samoa would have to sit throughout the entire process because he couldn't even get up to go and use the washroom and all of that, to the Suede Road Declaration and all of that. Is the NDC not in power today? You understand what I mean? So there's nothing happening in the NPP that hasn't happened before. Right. The only thing is that history should give you that opportunity, hindsight and all of that. And of course, that historical antecedent that you have to expect some of these things and find solutions to them so that it doesn't degenerate into something else. But I don't believe that there's anything major happening in the NPP that we cannot close our ranks and come together and fight. And you see, it is also not normal times. I mean, we have a presidential primary in just less than 3 weeks. You understand? There's all sort of commentary will come out. People, and that's why I'm saying that we have to almost situate these commentaries and who is saying what and all of those things in this period. Because what tends to happen is that right after the elections as well, then the normal thing to do and a common wisdom would be that let's close ranks, let's reconcile, let's put our support behind the candidate that emerges victorious so that we can prosecute a campaign, right? And that thing in itself is not an event. It's a whole process. You get it? And that's why some people are urging caution and all of that and saying that, listen, let's tarry slowly. Let's make sure that these things are in the bigger picture going to inure to our benefit. But nothing untoward has happened. Remember, if somebody goes against the rules and regulations and whatever, the party has every right to basically activate those procedures and all of that. If he's found culpable, so be it. If he decides not to attend, the party should be able to activate. So it won't still that discipline. For example, I mean, my candidate, Dr. Benny Champon, has stated this and has said it on so many different platforms, that the party requires discipline to be able to move on and prosecute, even prosecute a campaign. You understand what I'm saying? So these are some of the things that are being displayed, right? But like I indicated, we are not going to be taking these lessons from the NDC. I mean, come on, moral lessons from.
But they've been there.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But we've also been there. We have some rogue elements.
So compare notes.
We have some rogue elements in the past. They have. I mean, I'm sitting quietly, looking at even the things that are brewing under the surface. You know what I'm saying? Now they are even calling for the soul of the party and everything. People are saying that all of a sudden they should now put the founder of their party on a certain pedestal and everything. We all know what is happening. You understand? But it is politics. It is just that. I mean, in this era, and we also, like a constitution, we are a constitutional democracy, and we want to be governed by these tenets, right? Should be done within a certain framework so that it doesn't go overboard. But nothing, I don't see anything happening. I don't see anything major happening.
Do you see any, sort of animosity between the party and some of its old guys?
Yeah, but everybody has. I'm sure that, you see, that's what I'm saying.
You're subsequent to this.
No, but that is why I'm saying that. If you ask me, I'm sure if you go, he mentioned President Kufuor. You can go to President Kufuor, you can go to anybody from the highest person to the lowest person, would have disquiet, would have certain things that they were unhappy about, unhappy. You speak to probably national executives, they might have a position on, maybe they push a certain agenda it was ignored and all that. Everybody would have, I have. You understand what I'm saying? But the party remains supreme. There's a whole principle of collective responsibility at a certain point. Because you believe in the general principles and ideals of this party. Sometimes you can ignore some of the ills, and then you fix the issues internally. But everybody, I would be surprised to meet anybody within any political party that will not have issues. But it is how you deal with it. You understand? Former appointees have issues. The people who didn't get any appointments in the 8-year period have issues. People who were removed because of one reason or the other felt that it was unfair have issues. The party rank and file would have issues. Everywhere. I mean, they have just come from opposition into government. He would attest to that. And he's also an executive member of their NEC, isn't it? So that is the whole point. However, your interests and your issues does not override or supersede the general interest of the entire party. And that is what is lost on some people. Otherwise, we can all come and sit here and pissing. Do you understand? And then you would then at a certain point, we will not have a political party. And so the point is not about having disquiet or being disgruntled or being apathetic or whatever. It is about how you deal with these things. And that's why I'm saying that for us to even get to that point, it is also imperative, and it behoves on the leadership that when these things are being applied, let's apply it evenly, firm, and fair across board, so that people would have opportunities to air some of these grievances, right? I mean, so you have to create platforms for us to argue and debate and be upset and whatever, because what is a political party without passion?
True.
Do you understand what I'm saying? However, we shouldn't be doing it
in the open.
In the open, on TV and all that. And that is why I back the National Executive in applying whatever sanctions that there is. You know what I'm saying? Because you cannot, otherwise it becomes like a free-for-all, a jungle and all of that. And so as for the disquiet, I'm sure it's there.
It's there.
But we can deal with it, we can fix it, we've learned our lessons, and we will move on, and we'll come back stronger.
Let me just say, he said something earlier that I think is very important that we emphasize. Selective justice is very dangerous in society. In fact, selective justice can result in no justice at all. So if it is the case that some people are being targeted within the NPP.
I didn't say that. I'm just saying that. I didn't say that some people are being targeted.
You made mention of selective justice.
I'm
trying to expand it.
The issue is that everybody backs the call. And what would instill more discipline is to be sure that whilst what is being applied today would apply to persons who is that not what I said? That's what I said.
No, should it go back?
But be that
like retrospective. No, that would be chaotic.
Should they have a retrospective?
No, that would be chaotic. I mean, so we have to
but the point
draw the line and
but the point
on.
still has to be made that consistency is key. So if this is the approach that people want to take, then they have to be consistent, so that the issue of selective justice will not be seen as what is happening within the NPP. So
you think it's a leadership crisis? Because we saw after Akufo-Addo took charge of the party and it was clear. And after Akufo-Addo, we were not seeing same.
Even during Akufo-Addo's tenure, there were some skirmishes and all of that. Just that because of his firm nature, people were, it was a bit manageable, unlike now. But I'm hoping that after their flag bearer,
but we don't have.
So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That I'm hoping.
That happens.
That's what I'm saying. That
people fall in line.
I've already given the preamble that we in the NDC, we want the NPP to be strong.
I don't believe so, but it's fine.
He said that we in the NDC, we want the NPP to be strong. We don't want to defeat a weak or a weaker NPP. No. Because even when they were in power, solid and all of that, you see what they came up, 38, you said 41. 41.
You are holding on to this 38 too.
So we don't want a weaker NPP. We want them to be strong. So I'm hoping and praying that after January 31st, he's with Dr. Brian. So if Dr. Brian wins after January 31st, maybe he will bring some sanity to the NPP and instill discipline.
That's one of the things he's been campaigning on, actually. Well, let me take a few quick messages. This one says, okay, this one is commenting as there's a story we did earlier regarding an 8-year-old pupil who's risking amputation. It says, good work done, Channel One. It's heartbreaking to see the plight of the 8-year-old girl. I wish her speedy recovery. School authorities should ensure that they have what it takes to run the school. Schools deal with humans and their future. It's therefore imperative to put proper measures, both human and other resources, in place when running such institutions. This is Lar from Ashongman. Aminu from Nsawam says, I urge the NPP leadership to take disciplinary action against Professor Frimpong Boateng for his outburst. As a senior member of the party, he should set a good example. If those in leadership positions disregard party decisions, it sets a bad precedent for younger members. Let's maintain discipline and respect for party decisions, just as there's a law and order in every society. Good morning, Nana. Nobody is above the NPP. Discipline must be the hallmark of the party. Anybody who misbehaves must be punished, including expulsion. The party belongs to the grassroots, and this is from Ahmed from Nima. Good morning, Breakfast Daily. We need numbers, but some numbers are negative numbers and they will reduce our positivity. It's better to kill the snake when it's young so it doesn't become a dragon. The Prof himself said he no longer considers himself a member of the party. This is from Ayiku Tete at Afienya Mataiku. All right, keep the messages coming in and we'll do our best to read them out. Let's now move to the matter of Kpandai. The Supreme Court has set January 8th to decide on whether or not to nullify the High Court ruling. Wanda, your thoughts on Kpandai and all that has happened leading up to this particular case. The MP, Matthew Nindam, is praying that the Supreme Court nullifies the ruling of the High Court.
The judgment of the High Court.
The judgment of the High Court. Where do you stand on this?
Basically, let's look at some few facts. An election petition, parliamentary election petition, was filed at the Tamale High Court.
Yes.
Based on some alleged irregularities.
In a certain number of polling stations.
Yes, about 41 or so.
Yes. Not the entire constituency.
Yes, 41 out of the 152 polling stations. The case was heard, and I think in November, the High Court delivered its judgment. Subsequent to that, I think the clerk
of Parliament,
wrote, notified the Electoral Commission
upon service.
Yes, that the seat has been declared vacant, and then the EC went ahead to fix
a date
for the rerun.
That's December 30th. Yeah, or 30th.
December 30th for the parliamentary rerun. Okay. Martin, the embattled MP now filed a statutory application at the Supreme Court to quash the judgment of the High Court. It's within its right. Now, what are the governing laws that regulates election petition? You look at Article 99 of the 1992 Constitution, and then Section 18 of PNDC Law 284. Two main things is clear. That you have 21 days. 21 days after the result has been gazetted, within which you can file your election petition. Now, the embattled MP's argument, or he's not the applicant at the Supreme Court. His argument is that the 21 days rule was breached.
Okay.
That's his argument, basically. That
the petition was filed after the 21 days.
Yes, yes. He said no, 21.
21.
Yes, he said it was filed at the 32. He said it was 32 days or so. That was his argument. That's his argument actually. And he claims that based on that, it means that the High Court lacks jurisdiction. And then he has now invoked the supervisory jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. Now, the first respondent's argument is that, look, there were two gazettes, two dates. So the 21 days could be true. And now the Supreme Court has fixed January 28th for its ruling. So basically, these are the facts behind the case. I wouldn't want to go into the details. Once the matter is at the Supreme Court, I wouldn't want to go into the details. But the point has to be made clear that this is not the first ever election petition, parliamentary election petition that we've had in this country. I can refer to the Williamson case in 2000, there are a number of cases. But the issue is, the court has always held that there should be strict compliance for the 21 days rule. So we must determine as a matter of facts whether or not the petition was filed within the 21 days. If that is the case, then the basis for the certiorari application at the Supreme Court will be flawed. So we must determine that. I do not have that facts, to be very honest. As a lawyer, I speak to facts. I do not have the fact to say that, oh, the Gazette was published on this date for me to count the 21 days. No, I have just stated the law. I've just stated the law. So let's see what will happen. I mean, January 28th is just about some 2 weeks from now. Let's see what the apex courts have for us. Thank you.
Very well. Eric,
Kpandai. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't want to delve into the legalities of it. But basically what I have here, even just a summary of the Article 99, talks about the High Court having jurisdiction to hear and determine any question as to whether a person has been duly elected or validly elected as a member of Parliament, and that seat, or also to be able to determine if a seat is vacant or not. And it's gone through the processes. I mean, he tried to adduce to certain facts of the matter in terms of even what the initial applicant sent to the High Court in Tamale, saying that he wanted determination on some 41 or 44.
No, just narrating the facts.
That's what I'm saying.
41
polling stations as against that of 150 or so.
152.
Right, 152. Now, the point is that, I mean, I think that there's the point that the NPP had made over the period that, and then of course now that is at the Supreme Court. I mean, because we can discuss the High Court judgment, but we don't want the Supreme Court, because otherwise I'll be in contempt. I don't want to be called before the Supreme Court at all. And so the basis was that, I mean, how do you now make a determination about the entire constituency
based on 41 polling
based on even what was actually presented to you there? And then, the Honourable MP has now proceeded to the Supreme Court to also seek a determination on even the validity of that, and then also make a determination. And so, for me, I think that sometimes when some of these things happen, in as much as it becomes almost a bit of an irritation to the persons involved, it gives also an opportunity to also test our constitution, and then also be able to even strengthen the democracy that we all have agreed that we want to be governed by. Because in the absence of that, what would that be? What would be the case? It will be a case of chaos and people uncertainty and all of those things. So for me, I like these constitutional stuff. I like it. I enjoy it a lot. I believe that, like the Supreme Court has already set a date for the extermination. Once that happens, we'll put that behind it. And then we have the benefit of precedents. I mean, lawyers and the legal people, they deal with precedents, so that we do not sort of come back to some of these things, and then it actually becomes, I mean, for want of a better word, an irritation. And you see, and you have people within the constituency, and so we now have conversations surrounding having representation and, I mean, uncertainty and who to go to. And there were a couple of incidents where I think Martin Nindam went to Parliament and he was being prevented to speak and all of that. And so in the broader, right, in the broader context where there has to be representation all the time, at what point does the right of, let's say, the NDC applicant and that of the constituents, right? There's always some kind of conflict there at this point, because whilst he has a right, the constituents also have a right to representation. And even when we were in government, I backed the people who were upset with the happenings in Seoul. And I stated it categorically. I don't do that kind of politics. You understand what I'm saying? I was of a firm belief that they needed representation and that there was some kind of error in how that was applied and over the period. To the point that I even made a recommendation that maybe we should have even like one of the MPs close by to have some kind of supervisory whatever, because it's our constitution. In as much as it's some of these things are entrenched, we can also be a bit flexible so that the people are not unduly. Let's assume that somebody even wants scholarship or wants the support of an MP to deal with a certain matter and all of that. In all of these brouhaha, right, the people in Kpandai or there's somebody in Kpandai who is unduly impacted. You know, so in as much as we do these things, and I mean, there's a right and all of those things, I believe that as a constitution, as a democracy that we want to abide by, we have to be minded by this thing. And that's why I believe that even in the wisdom of the framers of the constitution, they gave the 21-day rule. I mean, because if you can wait, let's say, for example, 2 or 3 years or whatever down the line to activate a process, it will be totally chaotic. You understand? I've seen certain, I hope that is not true, I've seen certain communication on some platforms that the NDC are still looking for some seats to take. You know what I'm saying? You know, but again, that's like in jest. But I'm like, I mean, of course, I mean, you have every right to test the law, right? But at a certain point, it becomes ridiculous. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And there's a limit to what is, I mean, applicable to what the Constitution states and what actually makes sense on the ground. So I believe that since it's gotten to the Supreme Court, let's allow the process to
What wonder?
Yes, but just by way of legal education, you made a point about that the affected polling stations, just 41, not the entire 152. So why the rerun? That's a valid question. We can discuss whether or not the 41 will have significant impact on the overall. We can discuss that, but I'm not even going to talk about that. But what I'm saying is that the 41 polling station, that cannot be the issue at the Supreme Court.
That is
no.
So I just want to, just for legal education,
that is not
if the embattled MP has an issue on that, the best place, per the Article 99, is the Court of Appeal. That's where you can appeal the situation. What is at the Supreme Court has to do with jurisdictional issue. Because he claimed that the 21 days. Yes. So if
statutory period.
Because that and if that is the case, then it means the High Court lack jurisdiction ab initio.
True.
So that is what is at the Supreme Court. So just as a way of legal education.
Yes, on that, what you conveniently did was to, you know, in explaining all that, tell us that if indeed it is established that the petition was filed within the 21 days, then the certiorari application is null and void from this. But what if, because the argument of Nyindam is that the election results were gazetted on December 24, and that triggers the timeline.
So it's a question of fact. So you see, certiorari application, there are ingredients. There are ingredients that you have to meet. You see, it's not like a discretionary somebody will, so the gazette will have to be brought for us to see the date. Once we see the date, we can count the 21 days within which the election petition ought to have been filed or was filed or so. So the 21 days, we will check. If Ghana were to be an advanced country, everybody should be able to go on the
platform,
Ghana Provision's website. And see the dates. I mean, we need to grow as a country. I mean, to be very honest, we should be able to check. Which date was the Angola election result published? Which date was the Cape Coast South or Tamale South election published? We should be able to know, like without struggle. If we know, then we can easily count the 21 days within which a petition ought to have been filed. So I'm saying that the matter before the Supreme Court is basically about these 21 days. Because once the 21, if the application is filed within the 21 days, the certiorari application will be.
But Nyindam argues that the Gazette was on December 24.
So it should just be improved.
But Wakpao says that there was a re-gazetting on January 6th.
Like I said, I don't have that fact.
But that's what I'm saying. I think that those discriminations, like I wonder.
Exactly. I'm even rehashing the dates and the re-gazetting because it brings the concerns of how the EC acts in some of these matters. Why, if indeed established, why gazette on 24th December and then re-gazette January 6, 2025? And so that's where it creates a vacuum between December 24, January 6. And so then there's the contention and the conflict of the dates.
And just to put this in context, note that those two persons you've mentioned, none of them are involved in the gazetting process.
True.
Just note this. Two, we've been in this country. Even the presidential election, 2020, was edited about 3-4 times.
Exactly.
In this country. Jim Mensah, the presidential election. Today he will come and she will give a result, come back and say this in this country. So sometimes the institutions, we need to also hold our institutions seriously. Because Martin Indam had no hand in this gazetting process. Neither is the NDC parliamentary candidate. They don't have a hand in the gazetting process. It's the institution. So the institutions must work. I'm sure the Supreme Court, in giving its ruling, will tackle all these institutional challenges, difficulties, and all of that. Because why should it be difficult to know when an election result has been is been made public? Why should it be difficult? Gazetting, why should it be difficult?
Challenge with the lack of consequences for some of these things, especially with our constitutionally mandated bodies like the EC. The EC has admitted the existence of multiple gazettes and multiple dates of gazetting.
But the reason is very simple, right? If it happens one day that there's a certain convergence of thought and purpose between the two of us, institutions will sit up.
True.
You understand? But in this country, people, the hydra-headed devil is the politician. Right? And that person is being given that title by another politician. So I'm the devil. When we are when the table stand, he's the devil. You understand what I'm saying? And then people get away. Right, I mean, as a matter of principle, there are some institutions, I don't want to mention them, that even when we were in government and at the point I was government spokesperson, I never felt the inclination to defend, because I felt that they should have enough resources and the presence of mind and the PR, whatever it is, infrastructure to be able to deal with these things themselves, in terms of even accountability and being responsible. But if it happens that when the NPP is in government, the EC is our friend. If we go into opposition, the same thing, the NDC is in government, they will defend a cycle. When they are in opposition, they are the devil. What it means is that it creates almost a certain vacuum whereby they can get away with it, because at every point in time, especially in a country where the stakes are so high, where almost 50% of the people are supporting NPP, almost 50% are supporting NDC. What it means is that at every point in time, even when you find an NPP or NDC guy committing something that is so heinous, 50% of the people would be. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that is why sometimes some of these conversations, I mean, we get these opportunities all the time, should be anchored in values and principle. That the position that you take when you're in government should be the same position that you take when you're in opposition, so that the people, you understand? Because these institutions, I mean, just to even a bit of a digression, we're talking about EC and all of those things, right? It cannot be the case that government spends, let's say, $1 million on a kilometer of road. And then there's a chief survey director, there's somebody that tells the minister that the person has met the specifications, everything and all of that. And then within 6 months,
the road is deteriorated.
It rains 2 times or 3 times and the road is gone, and nobody takes responsibility. And it is the politician.
The politician,
fault. And but my point to many people all the time is that when you go into any public sector institution, you will not find more than 2 or 3 politicians there.
Isn't it because the politician who sits as the head takes no action against these people?
That is why I'm saying that the overall, the responsibility lies with the person at the top.
True.
But when we get to a point where most of these conversations are on a nationalistic perspective, whereby we are doing the devoid of partisan considerations, right? People would sit up. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that when I am in a position of authority and something happens, I'm not going to go and hide behind a political party. So we've even done it even to civil society organizations and to even institutions. And you understand? So when you're in opposition, then even teacher associations or whatever, all become acolytes of the government, isn't it? When they go into, you understand? But that should not be. That should not be the case. You understand what I'm saying? So that at least sometimes some of these things are things that can be dealt with. You know, if we are partners in this all this democracy, but sometimes it's not the case because there are certain things that, like he said, I mean, the EC is on record to have done A, B, C that we are unhappy about. You can mention other institutions. I mean, people have had challenges with the judiciary. People have had challenges with every other institutions in the past, and we still have people defending it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just because for either parochial interest or political expediency and all of that. And so it's about time that we moved away from that.
Wonder.
Yes, so talking about institutions and how they work, when party changes and stuff, I'm happy that Eric said he is always consistent. He mentioned the issue of SAL. I'm very happy. I wouldn't want to do the politics of equalization. But remember, prior to the 2016 election, there was this Abu Ramadan case. The NPP agitated on electoral reforms and all of that. The court came in to
using the NHS card and
all of that. But I was so shocked that when the NPP came to power in 2017, even registration to get EC card,
the passport matter.
No, not even that. They said you will not even be allowed to do that at a police station. You have to go to the district. And we were raising concern. How can you say this? So somebody from Tegbe will have to move all the way to Angroga. I mean, we're struggling. People from Shime will have to come all the way. Then we heard the political and that thought, because they are in power, they have resources to mobilize people to get their people. Yeah, Eric knows this. I said, how? A party that was pushing this Abu Ramadan case, talk about electoral reform, was denying people of registration at their police station. We're in this country.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that we are having a non-political, we are trying to look at these issues objectively.
Politicize some of these matters.
Yes, deal with because gazetting is just to publish something and record.
Yet you have multiple gazette notifications.
So as it stands
and
now,
there are no consequences.
But that's what I'm saying, that you see.
Our institutions. Talk about Asindov. Let me talk about Asindov. You saw what happened.
Yeah. Jachikwesen.
Yes, you saw. He's talking about representation. For how many months, how many weeks did the people of Asindov suffer representation in parliament? So let's be consistent. This man was almost in court every day. In fact, the Attorney General at the time, Godfrey Dami, one of the applications plea to the court was that he wants a daily trial. Daily trial. I mean, what is it? And you could see that how the people love the money. When we went for the rerun, look at the margin of victory. Look at the margin of victory. To the extent that we even got some nice, beautiful songs. Chasopoku Sikano Yedi. You remember all the songs that came?
You see?
But that's what I'm saying. That we need to now talking about
politics aside.
Listen, we've had issues with Honorable Abuk Sakande, to the point that he even lost his life at a point. You know that we've had issues with these things about a supposed cattle farmer filing. We've been there, and that's what I'm saying. That we can go back and forth and give examples of this person has done this, person has done this, and all of that. But at what point do we draw the line and say that, yes, we'll do the politics, we would hold each other's feet to the fire and all of that, and do proper constructive criticisms and everything, right? But then at a certain point in time, you have to draw the line, because the whole conversation is about the Ghanaian people. Sometimes I worry that we will get to a certain point where the electorate will lose confidence in the political class, right? And if that happens, none of us will survive. You know what I'm saying? So for me, maybe sometimes I sound a bit too idealistic or whatever, but that's the reality. Right? That let's do the politics. We can give pleasure of examples as to what this person has done, this person has done. But the reality is that we draw the line, hold institutions to account, and then we can do our politics when we want.
Very well. This one, there's a message that says, "Good morning, Mr. Host, Afishapa. Afishapa to you too. I just like the NPP guy. He's a good speaker and has good morals. He could one day become the national secretary."
I don't want to get into trouble.
This is from Kpandai Boateng. Keep the messages covered. And
I beg you, let me stay in my corner. A boy from Abompe. You know, Abompe. Small village in Abompe. Let me stay in my corner.
Let's take a break here. This is Breakfast Daily here on ChannelOne Television. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. The show is still interactive. Send us your thoughts, your comments, and contributions. Eric Chum is here. Wanda Victor Kuto is also here. We're having conversations surrounding some national issues. And we're moving into the issue of the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG. Yesterday, the Public Utility Workers Union held a joint press conference with the Trades Union Congress, which presser was addressed by the Secretary General of the TUC, and they alluded to some developments within the ECG, suggesting that with the right resources, with the right management, the company should be able to turn around its fortunes without private participation. The conversation around introducing private participation into the management of ECG has bounced back. It's been ongoing for a while now. POO has been kicking against it, insisting that ECG can run its own affairs as a public institution managed publicly without private participation. Yesterday, they put out some figures suggesting a growth in revenue and all, for which reason they are kicking against the proposed private participation, not privatization. I choose my words carefully, because the minister has come out to say that they are not privatizing ECG, but they'll be introducing private participation along the distribution end of the supply chain. So, Wanda, your thoughts on this? Do you think, based on what POO is saying, a growth in figures from I think 700 and something to about 1.5 million cedis within 6 months, a special program they've instituted, is enough evidence to suggest that ECG can be managed, can be left as it is without private participation?
Thank you very much. I'm happy that the argument of the association is anchored on the success of this regime.
True.
No two ways about that. Their argument is that ECG has increased revenue collection.
Yeah.
So based on that, they do not think that private hands should fall in. Was it not the same ECG that at a point became PDS? You remember?
Yeah. Power distribution services.
Yes. We're in this country. ECG, not even portion of it. The entire ECG became PDS. We're in this country. So if you have a government led by a minister who is hardworking, who has instilled discipline, and as a result of that, revenue collection has, within 6 months, increased. And the same person, the same government is telling you that, look, this is what we need. And you said, no. The minister is clear that ECG is not, the sale of ECG is not on the table. ECG is not for sale. But the retail end, we need some hands in it. We have increased, we have put in mechanism to make sure the revenue collection increases. Not just that. The high distribution losses has been reduced. If you check recently, sums were paid to the IPPs, independent power producers.
1.47 billion.
Yes, let me give you some breakdown. Just, I mean, for the benefit of our viewers. Car Power Ship, Ghana Company Limited, we're giving 120 million USD.
Got the highest.
Yes.
Gen Power, the biggest generator.
Gen Power, 59,440, 4,180 USD. Twin City Energy, that's Amandi. 37 million, yes, 37 million, 986,534 USD. Early Power Limited, 42 million USD. I can go in.
And all this will sum up to the 1.47 billion. Yes. But that's on the generation end. The challenge.
No, they all for. I mean, ECG. People criticize ECG when there's load shedding, when there's doom saw. Is that not it?
Yeah.
And what brings about load shedding and doom saw?
It's a shortfall in generation.
Yes. I'm with VRA.
Or it will happen during the transmission.
Exactly. So if IPPs are not paid, if there's no money and all those things, in the past there's always threats that they will shut down their plants and all of that. Have you heard any threats since the NDC came to power, since Honorable John Jonapo became Minister for Energy? Have you heard of those threats? No. Because the finance minister and the energy minister are working tirelessly to bring discipline into the system. And we thank President Mahama. That in the second coming, the energy situation in this country is stable, and even legacy debts are being cleared. So, if it is being
charged 1 cedi at the pump for this,
but if you look at the current economic situation, if you look at the amount we used to pay for fuel, the exchange rate and all of that, and you are just to pay 1 cedi, I think it's relatively better. If you have to compare, it's relatively better.
Sacrifice less to gain more.
Of course. That's what governance is about. That's what governance is about. Today we are leaving the IMF.
It's been moved to August though.
That's what I'm saying. We are leaving this year. No, bottom line. We are leaving IMF this year. That means that those employment cap that was in the system will be taken off, so that there will be more recruitment, there will be more employment, so that the Ghanaian people can benefit. You understand? So basically, I'm happy, but we must always insist and make the point clear that the NDC administration is not selling ECG. It's just the retail end of it that we are calling for private participation. Thank you.
Right. Your thoughts on this, and I want us to move away from the politics of all of this and look at the efficient management of the utility. And this tradition of governments appointing MDs not from within the staff of the company, but bringing someone in, giving them their own KPIs. People fall short of these KPIs all the time, but we still continue this practice. Workers who are within with the knowledge and expertise, how come we're not using some of these to give direction to the company?
The arguments are there for private participation. So, for example, you're looking at ECG being long associated with inefficiency, high system losses, both technical and commercial, poor revenue collection, mounting debts to power generators. And just to even touch on that, this is not the first time that government had paid off debt in the energy sector. I mean, and so that erroneous impression being created that something exemplary has been
What's
done.
interesting is that similar amounts
yeah, that's what I'm saying. And so,
2024.
but what these guys are very good at is the sophistry in communication. And so if we are not very careful, on the tertiary,
it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Then President Mahama has done this and that and that. Then, in the same vein, forgetting to say that within this period, within this 1 year period, utility prices, the only reason why you can make and you can adduce to increase revenue is because you have burdened the Ghanaian people with 15 or 16% increase in utility.
15.47.
Yes, 16% increase in utility prices. And what do you expect? Can you imagine having a 16% increase in your rates and all of that, and then your revenue dipping? You'll be calling for the head of Bernard and Co. Is that not the case?
True.
You understand? So sometimes, you see, there are very intelligent people in this country. You can do the sophistry and the communication and all of that. But the reality is that it is nothing, spectacular. Then you have placed a 1 cedi levy on petroleum to pay for the debt, which is, it's a public policy position has been taken by government and everything as to being able to evaluate its impact. It's either based in a long term or medium term. We'll be here one day to do that. Do you understand what I'm saying? So sometimes, I mean, when you listen, so if you're not careful, when you hear it for the very first time, you say, wow. But that is the reality on the ground, right? And so for me, I mean, when we have these conversations, I mean, he made allusions to PDS. I've heard commentary from even the Honorable Minister making assertions to the fact that in principle he felt that PDS was a brilliant idea. And the performance of PDS in that short period in terms of even revenue collection and everything, and the record is there. You understand what I'm saying? There were challenges along the line. I feel that it could have been dealt with properly in a different manner. It wasn't, you understand what I'm saying? Because even the issue of PDS predated the NPP Akufo-Addo's administration. The process was started under President John Mahama. You know, so sometimes when we have these conversations and all of that, let's sort of credit ourselves with a bit more intellect. You know what I'm saying? But like you're saying, you don't want to invite me into the politics of it, right? Prior to that, there was a 5-year period, almost a 4.5-year period where under the NDC administration where Ghanaians experienced what is called doomso, which has now found its way in the lexicon somewhere. You know what I'm saying? It has. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying that. All I'm saying is that there are best practices elsewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, you can sometimes be in an objective manner, listen to the arguments of Pooh and whatever, and they are thinking that there will be some layoffs or there will be challenges with staff and rationalization and all of that. So those are arguments that you can find a certain roundtable and dialogue on. And then also what would sort of inure to the benefit of the entire country. Like Wanda is saying, the whole concept of private sector engagement is a matter of best practice. Do you understand what I'm saying? Where in other jurisdictions you have the people who generate the power, you have those who distribute, and you have the retail, and even it has
even those who transmit.
And so that there's a whole concept of customer service and accountability, and even sometimes you can even have a situation where there's competition. You understand? So in places where we've lived before, you have next gen, you have this, you have that, you have that. You can decide to change. You understand? And like the way we have deregulated our oil sector, that is the same. That's best practice in other jurisdictions. So sometimes, of course, in a society like ours where there's conservatism and sometimes there's a certain fear of change, right? People there was always going to be some kind of resistance, right? But whilst we're making these decisions, the decisions should not be based just on the concerns of PU and TUC and all of this, but what would actually inure, you see, because in the same breath, the TUC would resist increasing utility prices, and the fact that it is not even in tandem with base pay increase, or I mean, it is not consistent with inflation. You understand what I'm saying? So they are also like key, if you like, components. They're key component of the conversation. That how do we get to a situation where we engender what your concerns are, and make sure that we have an efficient ECG, so that even your concerns of the increase, because you see, the irony of the matter is that the members of the TUC, or the people that TUC represents, are the people who also are playing key roles within that particular sector. Do you understand? So I feel that there's room, there's an opportunity for almost like a dispassionate, clear, I mean, conversation as to what would inure in the long term. You know, because sometimes, of course, for any worker, if there's a thought of rationalization or this or that, there will be some level of anxiety. Do you understand? But if we there's a certain level of, or we have some clear rules of engagement as to what this private sector participation involves in all of those things. Really, I don't really think that. Then even this conversation around should somebody from within the ECG or whatever, and you know, it's a trite knowledge, you know, and sometimes there are two different schools of thought, and then there are the people who feel that necessarily as significant as an institution as ECG has to be somebody that can wield some political whatever, and then the other school of thought says that there's too much political interference in the role, you know. But again, these are decisions that are supposed to be looked at properly as to how this thing can even impact. So, you know, there are people, I mean, and it's also a function of our transition, right? We have a transition act. That some of it, as far as I'm concerned, in any modern democracy, it's ridiculous. You know, so I'm saying there are institutions that, by virtue of how we run our country, that are actually demobilized for a year. By the time the president appoints an acting CEO, the board is put together and all of that. What kind of ridiculous system is that? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So as even we mature as a democrat, we have to look into this. How is it the case that you're going to your dentist? Can you imagine that a government changes power and then your dentist is changed, and when you go there, there's a carpenter standing there?
Is that what happens?
No, I'm just saying that.
Is that what happens?
I'm just saying. I'm just using analogy. It's a very crude analogy. But all I'm saying is that there are certain institutions, there are certain key that should not be left with the willingly, what do you call it, of political office. Do you understand what I'm saying? Just because, like, energy, health, these are not things that you play around with.
So there should be a secure tenure. There should be 10 years. It's 10 years.
No, not necessarily. You see, that's what I'm saying. If you go to, I'll use the UK as an example, just because by virtue. When the government changes hands, only 44, maximum 50 people will lose their jobs. In our jurisdiction, 7,000, 8,000. Just imagine how you're able to.
Isn't it because of the appointing authority?
But that is the point. That is some of the work that the CRC, the Constitutional Review Commission, is even trying to do and all that. So in the case where somebody is let's say, MD of Ghana Gas or whatever, or a Gridco or something. I mean, once the tenor expires, and
the tenure of office is tied to the tenure of the political party.
There's proper handing over and all of those things after. Then you go, the appointing authority deems it fits to retain you. They retain. If they don't, they would go through a process and bring somebody else. Do you know what I'm saying? But in a situation where you have a transition that sometimes, I mean, demobilizes entire boards, right? And the challenge, you listen to the Public Accounts Committee hearings. You have a situation where there's no board, there's an acting CEO, they make decisions, that has to be ratified by a board that will come later. Months after. And then there are either infractions or there are issues that,
normally, when there's no governing board, the chief executive reports to the sector minister.
Right.
That's the government.
That's one. But that's what I'm saying. That. So you would go into the PAC issues and you realize that a lot of the issues would have happened when
there were no boards.
There was no boards. There's no. You understand? So we can fix that. I don't think this is rocket science. And we can use best practices elsewhere. I mean, I used to work for an institution that used to say that copy with pride. Making so we don't reinvent the wheel.
Is that a Chinese institution?
No. It's a very, very reputable. You understand?
It's a Chinese institution. The Chinese are good at that.
Right. Copy with pride, and so that you're not reinventing
the wheel.
Right? And then the system will run smoothly. Once the person, I mean, a tenure expires in another jurisdiction, you put together, you have your Public Service Commission and all of that. They will do another interview or wherever, they will validate their credential and then move on. Do you understand what I'm saying? But in this country, we've even brought it down to somebody is even a receptionist somewhere and they say they were employed in September, it's so and party. The party comes into, they say 24.
Let me explain something to you.
The guys who claimed that they were going to do a 24-hour economy and everything and gave 3 shifts are sacking receptionists.
But see, that's what we tend. Some of us tend to blame you politicians because
very casual. But let me just make a point. You see, employment has to do with budgeting. When you recruit people after an election, let's say you recruit somebody
before, nobody was recruited after election.
This year will mark my 10 years in the public service. I've been with the Youth Employment Agency for 10 years. I'm telling you that in some institutions, recruitment were done after the election.
After December 7th?
Yes. Recruitments were done after December 7th. That is not even an issue for me. But the point is, you must tie recruitment to budgets.
Yeah.
The budget. Yeah. Well, today, when you write to Public Service Commission that you want to even do promotion, they will ask you, has your institution budgeted
for the promotion?
Yes, I mean, make provision for it because those promotions have financial ramifications on the institution.
True.
So when you employ people on December 14th or 15th, when you know you are handing over in 2 weeks, January 7th, are you being fair? Do you remember the single spine? At the time President Kufuor was leaving, the single spine stuff was signed. Workers themselves went to Professor Moss and said that you should hold on for 1 year. That they know that the previous government was just trying to burden the incoming government. So workers who are beneficiaries went to Professor Moss and begged him.
Which workers?
Oh, we're in this country. He knows this. You know, I know you speak to facts.
Yeah, it was in the news.
Yes,
it was in the news.
Yes, workers went to Professor Moss and said,
look. News that was generated by Wonder and his people.
Oh, Eric.
But I know
you were in the UK.
I know.
You know, we have been struggling.
How long I've been in this country?
You were in the UK, blogger. So you there. So you see, workers went to Professor Moss and said, look, this is a new government. Please take it easy, settle down, then you can now implement the single spine. And then Professor Moss acted in good faith. So what I'm trying to say is that recruitment in this sector is not bad, but there should be financial provision for such recruitment. So if you want to make the argument very casual, they are second reception. Yeah, you see, that is not the case. The case is the time of the recruitment. The time of the recruitment is key and crucial.
You just indicated that. I'm not trying to even personalize this conversation. You just indicated that you have been with the Youth Employment Agencies for how long?
For 10 years.
For 10 years. Yes. Which means that it straddled an NPP administration.
Yes, I'm a
right. So the whole concept of, consistency and fairness is important.
But I was recruited in December.
No, but that is. But there are people. There are examples of people who these things were done to, and then how to actually call them back.
True.
Right. I mean, how do you, for example, withdraw the contract of a nurse or a doctor? Just because
that's a group of Ghana workers.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. And for me, I mean, sometimes again, so you see, when not a lot of these things are not politics.
True.
And you see, the tendency for politicians is that sometimes we make these decisions without looking at it from even a social cohesion standpoint. Somebody has gone to nursing training for 3-4 years or so, right? They are renting a house in Oyarifa or Medina or wherever. They are commuting for 12 months. You don't even pay them and all of that. Then all of a sudden you say that, because NDC is in government, all of a sudden you found rational decisions to take them off. They have a small daughter or they are looking after their family. So some of these things, I mean, and we do that to ourselves because as far as we are concerned, there's another set of people. There's
many jobs.
Exactly, who are going to still back us. You understand? In this conversation that we are having, you have NPP people sending messages for Eric Chum. You have, you understand what I'm saying? So sometimes when we are making these decisions, we don't actually look at it from just a Ghanaian term, a human face perspective, and then we make it willingly, and then we get away with it because we are in government. But you see, these things, this goodwill that you have as a government, it dissipates with time.
Indeed.
With time, the dissonance will set in.
If you work
you understand what I'm saying?
People appreciate you more if you work well. For the first time, the government has gone 1 year without any scandal. Yes.
Do you speak?
Without an exposed scandal.
Do you speak?
I can understand.
You understand?
I can understand.
So the Ghana man will say beer water.
Yeah, here we do.
Beer water.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you so much. This has been an interesting conversation. I have 2 quick messages and then we'll run out of here. This one says, I'm surprised by the sudden suspension. I don't think he's been suspended yet. Instead, the party should engage him as a resource person to explain the fake NPP he talks about rather than threatening him. Now you engage the media instead of him to meet the disciplinary committee. I totally agree with him that the party is now fake. How can someone like Frimpong Boateng not be able to express himself when they were the people who stood and formed the party? This is from Hudu Salia. This one says, good morning, Nana. POO's rejection of ECG and NETCO privatization is a defense of national assets, jobs, and consumer protection. Evidence shows ECG can improve through internal reforms, not privatization, making restructuring the smarter path rather than handing control to private interest. Yet, as Ghanaians struggle with the 1 cedi fuel levy and rising electricity and water tariffs, campaign promises to reduce the cost of living ring hollow. The real issues is not ownership, but accountability, efficiency, and protecting citizens from paying more while getting less. This one says, a very good morning to the Honorable Samuel Abujanapo and his beautiful... Hey, you people worry. Abu Safianu from Damango, we hear you. Thank you so much for your message. Thank you to everyone that tuned in. I am Nanatu Boateng. Don't go away. The show continues after this.